Or come off the O and Honda to a full shot.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe a better one there.
Close-ups of every person here.
But there's a lot of fish down there.
That's not fair.
If you show up on time to be there.
Yeah, I think we need that shot again of you stuff. And I'll make up something to say.
They're just
Okay, I'll be back in a minute. I just gotta go do my thing.
What's this for? It's Yamaha promotional film.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I said it. So good at Yeah, get the 3 shot there.
Oh, please, hop in.
Yeah, you can do your bike. Yeah, the chance of that he's gonna be flat if you put it on.
Hey Dave, I'm rolling.
Scared shit out of you. What? Three cylinders. One to cylinder you race, sort of. It's a similar cylinder we raced the other day.
That's what
We had the cylinder that you said was the best the other day for this situation. Then we got another one they invented. Now we have 2 of their pipes. Okay? So much power that Mom and Dad, everyone in the stands will like go, oh,
what the heck?
yeah, what the heck. And then we have the clamps. Okay?
Okay. You seen it, guys?
A little lighter than the other.
Made at American Honda.
In America, we in America believe in making it happen.
Magnesium, huh?
Solid block.
Big old chunk of aluminum in there.
Well, mag.
This is mag? Yeah. You reckon one of these babies will cost if you got it done at Topaz? A week more.
Yeah, over a week. 2 more a week.
Who did that?
Al,
Some dude?
the guy who made the titanium stands.
Did you tell everyone was pissed at it?
Especially Glover, and he laughed. It was good humor. They say he bumped into the Yamaha guys at the grocery store.
Yeah. I wonder if they're...
Going to Marina? That's what I said too. I bet you they're headed for Marina and Ricky would be pissed.
They have no way to get in. There's locks at both ends, and also
Besides that, the racetrack ain't like Marina anymore.
it's real smooth at Marina now. It's like Marina's kind of like a supercross track. Here.
The shocks the other side.
I'm measuring again.
I do. Well, might as well now, you know. We're going into the landing. Yeah, body.
That's it.
This bottom end is a brand spanker, so it might be a little tight.
Don't count back yet. Okay. Congratulations, you made one good, one bad. So you're all right. Looks really kind of nervous. Very funny.
Resolve.
What's wrong with that?
Okay.
Hey.
Right there.
Yeah.
Or you just didn't have enough?
Oh, I was going far inside.
That's why you were casing it, going
Right,
down in
right.
there?
Because I was trying to get him, psyched out and scared. So, you know, I just show him my wheel, and that's the only place I can make up time on him to show him my front wheel.
Leave a little down there.
Stand by, we're rolling.
Stand by, you're rolling, and fix my car.
And actually, Dave, how long have you been head of Honda? A little background.
Well, I've been on the racing team for 14 years, and I started out just working on practice bikes in the shop, and then soon, 6 months after that, I was mechanic on the road like Brian Lunnis is for Ricky. I did that for about 8 years. And in 1980, I went to Europe, the year they hired on Roger DeCoster, and worked with him for the Grand Prix series for 1980. And then starting in 81, I was manager of the U.S. team when I came back to the States.
Looking over your stand, what have you learned most? Is it working on bikes, dealing with people, surviving the travel, the constant pressure of updating, having the fastest bike, you know?
Yeah, all that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the most difficult?
Well, probably the part I like the most is working on the bikes, working with the engineers and the mechanical things, because that's my background, and I think I appreciate that the most. And probably what I've learned the most is it's been since I've become a manager, dealing with people is a whole different thing. You know, it's keeping the riders happy and my management happy, and the people are spending the money happy, and then there's a lot of correspondence back and forth to Japan, to the Honda factory in Japan, as to what the requirements are of the motorcycles. And so I suppose that's shown me or forced me into being a little bit more diplomatic and thinking of all people involved.
You overseeing the Honda team, more specifically Rick Johnson, his racing, his training day to day, just working out, his practice riding, what do you oversee, or what do you give input and want to know? Well, Rick, are you riding 3 times this week? We would like you to be here in Houston on Thursday for press day, that type of thing. How does that work?
I usually have to make a call during the week and say this is what the schedule is for this week, whether it be going to press or going to some sort of a test sessions that we've set up that the engineers are going to be involved in. But Rick on his own is very professional. I really don't have to babysit him in any way like, you do with some that, aren't self-motivated or feel that responsibility. And Rick is very professional. He does push himself to train, push himself to practice, and thank God I don't have to look over that and kind of every step of the way, you know, say pay attention to this, pay attention to that. I mainly concern myself with his mechanic and the truck, the travel, the hotels, the airline, and then, like I say, the preparation of the machines. And I feel if the equipment's performing well, and Rick up till now has done every bit and more than the factory expects him to do. He's won almost every championship he's been in and the majority of races, so I can't, well, what am I going to do, call him up and complain about it? No, I can't do it.
When he wins, when somebody is constantly winning, they essentially get their own way. I mean, if he was having trouble, you'd say, well, we're going to have to go back out. We're going to have to train some more. But when he's continually winning, is he winning on some prototype parts? Are you guys continually testing? You say, well, this might not be the right setup this week, but you guys are out there racing it.
We're constantly doing development, whether or not he's winning or not. I mean, you know, what carries you from week to week and year to year? You know, if you rely totally on Rick winning, you might stop development and, you know, all the engineering and the work that goes into the race bikes. You have to make the motorcycle not only good for Rick Johnson, but everybody else that rides it, the privateers that ride it, the pro support riders that, you know, race the machines. And we have George Holland on the team, Jeff Lee, Guy Cooper, and we're racing other classes along with what he's racing 250 Supercross and Nationals, and we have 125 riders. And so, you know, we're doing a lot of testing with a lot of different riders. And so, what was your question?
That was it. The schedule. It can be flexible, but if Honda, or American Honda, who makes a decision like, Rick, you should go and race this race in Italy, they're calling it the World Supercross Series. Some of these races come out of the blue.
Yeah.
What's the most important for Honda? How do you sell motorcycles?
We contract with Ricky to race the most prestigious race in the United States, and those are all AMA sanctioned. There's a Supercross series, which you know goes along with all the stadium races we have. That's usually consists of 12 races. There's 2 different national classes that he runs in during the year. He runs a set of 250 nationals and a series of 500 nationals, and they compose of about 6 races each. And so outside of those AMA series races, what we'll usually do is in January, we'll do some races that are non-series races, you know, whether they be in Southern California. We'll race 3 or 4 just local races for warm-up to make sure that he's nice and loose and relaxed and confident in the equipment, to make sure that we've done all our homework right in November, December on the preparation of the new bikes. Then we get into the AMA season, and we really don't mix it up with a lot of other races while we're involved with that series. There has been, on occasion, something will come up. Let's say it's a non-sanctioned race or not a part of the series, but let's say it's getting good exposure, a lot of television, a lot of press. You can't pass it up. There's been 2 this year outside of the AMA series that the promoter is going to get a big crowd in Southern California, is going to get television, and that's what it's all about from the factory side, is just is exposure and you know, trying to get the team in front of an audience or in front of television. So
Paris Supercross, a bizarre show. It's like a Las Vegas show of sorts with a motocross thrown in.
Yeah, the promoters in Europe really have a push on to bring the American talent over to the top stars, and they'll go and get the top 5, 6, 7, 8 American riders. And Supercross in Europe seems to be getting bigger and bigger every year, and the shows they put on are Paris, France. They put on an unbelievable show. They have presenting a rider a different way every year, and they have the showgirls that come out, and it's real colorful. There's a lot of color, I guess, you know, a lot of charisma around the races. But those are usually non-series races, and the promoter deals with Ricky individually for those. And so we'll go, after the series is done in the States in October, we'll usually go to Japan once or twice, test new bikes, race. There's a Grand Prix in Japan, a Supercross in Japan, and we'll take whatever we come up with in the way of test parts, or we're working on the following year's motorcycle. We'll put together cylinder pipe suspension and send Ricky and his mechanic to Europe, and they'll just go tour Paris, Italy, you know, and they'll just do 3 or 4 or 5 Supercross races in Europe.
Well, if you had to pick one race that was probably the most prestigious, that might sell bikes worldwide, but you're concentrating on a healthy America, right? But what's important?
Well, that's a tough question. You know, if you look at it, it's really difficult to look at the whole broad spectrum. I mean, our racing team is funded by American Honda, and they're always telling me, well, for them to sell motorcycles in America, the Supercross series probably gets them the most for their money, the most mileage. I mean, if you look at the press that they get in Paris, that's a super big race. You know, Japan Supercross is big, but the Paris Supercross, big event, probably the biggest in Europe, I would say. Probably the biggest all-around race in Europe. But as far as the series, I'd have to say that the U.S. Supercross is what the factory and the people that give us money to go out and play with, they expect us to win. They'd like to get that the most.
We hear these, read about these salaries. It's business, not business. I mean, it's like more sports. People open up the pages and they want to know exactly what Jim McMahon makes. But is Rick, does he get one lump sum salary, or does he get bonus per race?
You always hear it from a third party.
The question over again. The helicopter's really bad. Don't mind. Okay, well, we won't need my question. I'll know the answer. I know, but the answer. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, you always hear from third party and gossip and what they read in the magazines. And Rick was looking through a magazine a couple of weeks ago, and he says, "Is this really what I make? I want to talk to this guy. I'd like to get this paycheck." But it's not set up that way. There is quite a bit of money involved, and most of it is on performance basis, on incentive. I mean, you get so much to ride and be on the team, and that's to take care of, I won't say your basic needs, but there's a lot of risk in racing, and we make sure that the rider has good medical insurance, and the rider does have to take care of all of his own expenses, going to hotels.
Explain it.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, pro support is no salary, but everything else?
Right.
Okay, say this one of these days. Okay, you can do it though. Eddie and action.
The question was about riders' salaries, and you usually hear an inflated number of what all these riders make, but the contracts that Honda Factory sets up are very performance related, and the rider gets a base salary to cover expenses like you know, going to the races, the hotels, the airplane flights, the per diems, and all that. That's all taken care of the rider, and the factory doesn't get involved in that. The other thing is we make sure, because it is a risky business, the rider has very good health insurance. And above that, it's a highly incentive type contract. You know, if the rider does good, he gets paid well. If not, then he doesn't make nearly as much. So and there's different levels of support. There's below Ricky Johnson, there would be what we call pro support, where we don't really give a rider a salary, but we give him enough that would help pay some of the expenses of traveling and driving the truck around and give him a few bikes and parts. And below that may just be amateur support, where they aren't racing a professional circuit. They may be getting their help through a dealership or discount on parts, and they'll be racing a series of amateur races as opposed to professional races. And besides that, guys go out and buy their own bikes and buy their own parts, and they have contingencies where if they do perform well on a Honda, you know, the factory gives them incentive for that also. There's a lot of different levels of support from the factory.
What sells motorcycles?
What sells motorcycles? Well, I've been told it's race results, it's what the people perceive, what they read in the magazines, and race wins. I believe that's what sells.
Personalities. Does that help a motorcycle?
It goes a long way, and that's something I hadn't touched on, was that we've had riders on the team that have been great racers before in the past that, let's say they didn't have a personality that, you know, could go out and reach kids and talk to fans at the races and stay after the race and sign autographs and really be a part of the people that support the sport. And that's one thing that Ricky is. I think that goes above and beyond him being one of the best racers in the world right now, is the fact that he is so personable and got such a good character and such a good personality that, you know, a guy with that much talent and has that much success under his belt can still stay down to earth and stay after the races and deal with the public. I think that goes a long way. You know, it says a lot. The company likes to see it because it's, you know, in addition, it's a personality, and also it's good for Rick's reputation. You know, people like to think, well, it hasn't gone to his head, and he's still down to earth just like you and me. So,
where is where's Rick got the strongest following? Is it in Italy? I mean, I heard that there was clothes made after him, or Paris, you know, the girls fall out of the stands for him. Japan, he takes off all his gear and throws it up into the stand. You know.
I'd have to say, you know, I know your question, and I've seen other riders, let's say they're very famous in Japan, or they might have done well or done, you know, spent a lot of time there doing schools and doing races, or in Europe. But I'd have to say It's a tough question because Rick is accepted everywhere. I mean, he has fans everywhere. He's big in the States. I don't hear anybody booing him. The place goes crazy and fall out of the stands when they call his name. So he's a hit here, and I know he is in Japan, and I know he is in Europe. So I wouldn't say one over the other.
Future of Rick Johnson with Honda.
I hope it goes. The relationship is strong now. It feels like he's been with the team for, well, this is his third year, but it's been a good match. I mean, he likes the equipment, he likes the support, and we definitely like working with him as a rider. And even I'd like to see it go even above beyond the years of racing. You know, Rick may be able to get into a consultant area with Honda, or maybe into management, or maybe into some sort of directive. You know, working with the racing team, advising us on riders. Maybe Honda's involved with all sorts of racing. You know, Rick is real good friends with Bubba Schobert, involved with dirt track and road racing. They're always looking for personalities to kind of be a director, try to be a coordinator, and maybe they'll work with Rick and something like that. I know he has a good personality for it, and he'd do well at it. So,
we'll wrap it up with one final question on. When I think it as a friend, or a friend thinks, well, Rick Johnson, what's he going to do this year? Well, he's going to win the 250, he's going to win the 500, he'll win the Supercross, he'll go to the Motocross and Trophy of the Nations, and he's going to win the... Everybody just thinks that. Do you guys think the same thing?
Well, my management does. I'm not like that, you know. I mean, every year I look at it as realistically. I almost look at it as being the underdog. You know, you don't want to sit fat and pretty on top and then have your guard down and somebody come and spank you every year. I like to look at it like, we did have a good year last year and the year before, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that Rick's in shape and the bike's the best it can be. And every race is is a new challenge. And you're only as good as your last race. It keeps you real humble, I think. You know, if you win 10 in a row and lose one, well, you're still a turkey. So I'm looking at it that Rick will get a lot of competition. The Kawasaki team's real strong this year. All the other equipment seems to be good. We're just hoping that ours is the best, and there's a lot of luck involved too. You know, Rick can be the best rider, like he was last year in the Supercross series. One fall kept him from winning the championship, so I think he'll be the rider to beat. He'll be the rider to beat, but doesn't mean you're going to win.
Okay, can we keep going, bro? This is too good. Good. Keep going. Okay, I want to know one bite lines, 1 or 2 sentences. Motocross and Trophy of the Nations. We got footage. We're looking at it right now. Your thoughts on the motocross in New York?
From the 87 trophy?
Yeah.
Well, we won.
It was.
It
was intense, dealing with it was great to have 3 guys come together. The track, everybody doubted. I even had doubts because it was so wet. It looked like a European track, something to that nature.
Yeah.
A quick synopsis on what you thought about that.
The Motocross of the Nations in 87, there was starting off, there was a lot of controversy as to who should be the U.S. team, and, you know, I don't think you have enough film to debate that. But they did pick a team. It was a good team, a good representation of the best talent in the United States. There was Bob Hanna on Suzuki, Rick in the 125 class, Rick on the 250 class, and Jeff Ward in the 500. Respectively, they all did well in their class. The race was muddy going in. It rained all the way up to the race, and I didn't think it was going to turn out even as well as it did. I thought it'd just be a mud bog, but and it was close. It was not a runaway this year like it has been in the past with the Americans. And the track is very European. It's very bumpy. It's very up and down, natural terrain, wide, pass anywhere type track. And the mud, I think, created an equalizer for the Europeans. I think they run a lot more of that condition than we do here in the States. And so there was guys like, I'd have to say the Dutch team, real strong, the Belgian team, real strong. I mean, after the first race, I don't believe the Americans were ahead. They were behind in third, and it took the next 2 motos to close it back up and stretch a lead. So it was real close this year, but great race. Yeah.
1 or 2 lines. Okay, this is guaranteed my last one. What did you think when Rick Johnson went on his head at Anaheim in 1987? Remember, you did a face plant in the main.
Yeah, that was a heart murmur, that one there, because we had, in 86, probably the strongest team of any factory has had motocross in the last 15 years. Johnson ended up winning everything almost. David Bailey second and Johnny O'Mara third, and we really had great equipment that year, probably the best riders in America, 1, 2, 3, and ended up that Johnny switched factories. He went from, between 86 and 87, went to Suzuki, and David Bailey got hurt in some warm-up races prior to the 87 season, early in January. That left us with only Rick. When Rick went on his head, that was not much to look forward to as far as what the year was going to be like. So he did almost everything, and he just about turned it all around. He started a streak, he narrowed the gap up, he got into the Supercross lead again after that, and fell again in Pontiac, breaking his finger, and we were sitting the second night in Pontiac without any rider, any Team Honda rider on the line, and he still came back and finished a close second in that series. So yeah, as far as Anaheim falling on his head, I was scared stiff.
Thank you.
Are you going to be riding the same course all day?
Yeah, 2 lap times.
Okay. Yeah, it's not right off.
Brian, grab a knife. I need to move this clutch in a little bit. Or out a little bit. Okay, there.
Oh, by the way, I have money in my briefcase that you're looking for probably from Seattle.
Yeah.
But JC forgot, and he didn't get both days. All I got was one envelope. You didn't get your license or the other envelope.
What's on there?
50.
Yeah. I could use 49. We have the technology.
Yeah, 49, 48 there. Which?
It's okay. I mean, you know, it's not bad. I can ride it in a higher gear. I got to start doing that anyways because I've been revving. You know, I've gotten into where I've had to rev the bike.
Is there room? Is there room to put a 15-tooth counter shaft?
We don't have one.
What's on this his standard 500 will have to?
No, spines are all different this year. Changed all the spines. I mean, we've been running 50 just about everywhere we've been going.
Yeah, it's not bad. See, I just, the way it runs tight, I'm riding it in too low of a gear. See, now I can ride it in 3rd gear coming out of turns.
Is the jizzing okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's just, it's real tight. Like, if you rode it around, you know exactly what I mean.
New motor.
It's like you let off the
It's up the other way.
slows down real fast, and then when you go to gas it, it's like, it feels like the brakes are.
Got nothing to do with being out here and me giving it to you, but every time I've done it and every race I've done it at, you've won. I was locked. What I'm talking about is, yeah, I saw what you ate over there. Guess what I had this morning? Rice, koji. I had honey, soy milk, and Raisin Bran cereal.
You're not supposed to add sugar to the brands because that helps digest the grains. You're supposed to eat the grains without sweet.
That lady's so full of shit. Buddy, you're going to find out.
Just because you got your name on the tape as director, Doug, you just...
Oh, and who is directing
Okay, you directed and I'll
You're right. You're right. like my nose is gonna be like 4 foot big on this thing. Oh. Okay.
Ready? And. Kind of funky, but it'll be good for an open. Okay, well, just a little dark, that's why. Okay, wait, oh, I know. Oh. I see it, though. I see the shot. Back it out. Ready? Sorry, Dave, this is moving on. Ready? And action. That's not bad.
But I want to, let's blast him here, though,
yeah.
so we can actually see him.
That's better. Okay, ready? And action.
What do you got?
I see them for life.
Watch this.
Little suntan. Here we go.
Here we go.
There you go, I got it.
Which leg do you want?
The underside. The underside.
We just saw it.
I could better use
So. See if you can figure that out. See, like the gynecologist goes to the elephant. Goes right up in. Stops all the little guys from coming in. No problem.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh, yeah, it's good. Ready? And sound fire on that boot there, Hyundai. Ready? And go. Start one more. Okay, let me do it more.
I'm not done yet.
That's okay. I'll just do it more. Ready? Oh, it's pretty good.
Can you go back
Do
down?
one more. Do one more. Your boot snapping now. Ready? And snapping it. And up. Okay, next.
Okay, next. Let's do. I'll do.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay, so do. So skinny ball. Ready?
Yeah, go. That was the first shot we got. That much.
Okay, let me start in Johnson here. This would be a great shot.
Should be quick now.
Ready? And, oh, just a little bit this way, Rick. Okay, and, action.
We got it. All we need is a close-up of the snap.
Snap?
Yeah, just...
Why don't, yeah, I'll spin around, oh.
I think we need you in the same position to do it accurately.
Okay. I'm ready.
That'll be good enough?
I'm ready. Okay. Oh. Ouch, my eye.
Okay, ready, go.
Here we go. You.
It's like
We got to do something with motion now.
Tell us what you think about Rick Johnson and how he raises his personality.
Oh, definitely really strong. He never gave up, but even the real bad situation, just he always tried to do his best. Yeah, that's really impressed me.
Are there any other riders that you've met over your 6 years with Honda that are similar, the same kind of determination that you could compare him with?
Yeah, like, yeah, always reminds me like Freddie Spencer at the road race.
Same type of determination?
Yeah, always do his best and go fast.
Do you know if Rick is popular in Japan?
Yeah, yeah, very popular.
So he started by doing some stunts just on motorcycles, getting off on some street bikes and stuff.
No, he actually started as a carpenter at the Universal lot. A guy named Peter Lampoon.
Peter Lampoon introduced him to
Peter was the carpenter on the lot when he quit. And he got him a job, and somehow Mike worked his way in.
Judy. Peter Lampoon.
P.T. Lampoon. What's his name?
Most of it. I'll get him taken. There he goes, right there.
Right.
Okay. Nice shot. Okay, we're set now. We're rolling. Coming towards you. Okay, I'll pick up his frame over here. Right. Pushing in. Oop, don't touch that much.
Nama Chuki Salima Nita Kudasai Mite Kudasai. The T or Te? Miti?
Or we can do that line last, and we can do a close
okay.
insert, and you can say, Mita Kudasai, okay?
Japanese, Dave. How do you know that? Japanese individual. I'm a tired individual.
That guy's getting bigger. You see his butt? That's under huge.
He's been checking it out. You ready?
I'm ready. Ready? We're rolling?
No.
Oh.
Stop tape.
Aeroplane?
Rick, you ready?
I guess. That's what I get.
Okay, ready?
Me being an angle.
And action.
Okay. Hold on, I'll get it. Konnichiwa, Rick Johnson desu. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum de no Supercross ne dimasu. Nippon Television de Nama Chuke Salimas.
One more time. Oh, now let's do our insert.
Oh.
Insert's a real close shot. Look at this.
Miti ku. That thing don't look like a plane.
747 stress.
Miti kudasai.
Rolling. Here we go.
Yeah.
And it's the inside close up. Action.
Don't look at me, this is not gonna. Okay. Mite kudasai. I think that's about as Japanese you can get.
Stand by. Down a little bit, Dave.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
Ready and action.
Konnichiwa, Rick Johnson desu. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum de no Supercross ne dimasu. Nippon Television de nama chuki salemasu. And the last one, right?
Okay, you're close up. Bring it in a little bit for the last line.
Okay.
Ready?
Action.
Okay, here we go. You want anger at the end of it? See there? Like, Mite kudasai. Makes my lips
We should
itch.
do one whole take thing or
One hot take. Let's go through it.
Okay.
stand by. Down.
Let's a full zoom in.
Okay. Stand by. And action.
Konnichiwa, Rick Johnson desu. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum de no Supercross ne dimasu. Nippon Television de nama chuke salimasu. Mita kudasai. Mite kudasai. Oops.
That's good.
They said play with this, go.
Roger, listen to this. Listen, this guy's incredible.
Ready?
Oh, get up there and get us.
Give me a little, why don't you call everyone here and make them look at me and make me really feel like a jerk? It's like, watch Rick, he's gonna fuck up this time.
Ready and action.
I don't know what to do with this hand, I'm like, okay. Okay.
Play with it.
Okay. Konnichiwa, Rick Johnson desu. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum de no Supercross ne dimasu. Nippon Television de nama chuke salimasu. Mite kudasai.
Perfect.
saw Rick go down, what did you think first thought?
Well, we were worried about that he was hurt real bad because we had a bad incident the week before where David Bailey got hurt. So the whole atmosphere within the team, we were quite worried about Rick, that he'd gotten hurt also the same way.
Positive training and thinking about different teammates. Normally they were fierce competitors, but the Motocross and Trophy of the Nations at Unadilla in 1987. Did Rick train with Jeff or Bob before the event?
We didn't per se train. We practiced riding for a few days together as a team. Or we didn't go out and run together or do our normal bicycling or anything like that. But we went out and rode together and kind of helped each other out. It was more of a binding thing as a team effort. Mr. Hanna decided to train elsewhere. He didn't want to be a team member at that time.
Mr. Hanna, you know him? Oh, look at this thing coming at us. Yeah. Might as well stop Dave. Stand by. Okay. Rolling and... Did you ever work with Bob Hanna? How long? Who with?
I worked with Bob for 3 years before I worked for Ricky here at Honda, and he's quite a different personality.
Oh, so they are different. Everybody kept saying, well, Rick Johnson, you're going to be the next Bob Hanna. He goes, well, I'm going to be the next Rick Johnson. But one thing in common, they've got a desire to win, even if they've got to hang it all out.
They both have a desire deep down when the chips are down and the starting gate drops on their main event. You can never count them out. They're tough. They're real tough inside, and there's only been a few guys like that.
Can you name them? Who similar to... Okay, we're talking Rick right now. Who would be similar?
Mark Barnett. Mark Barnett and Bob Hanna and Ricky Johnson are the only guys you could really always count on, that no matter how bad things were, if their hand was broke or their ankle was cracked, you couldn't count them out, ever, because they dig deep inside and make it happen.
Not being with Rick during his formative years of growing up with the mini bikes and the 100s and 125s or whatever, but if you had to peg something back in the future, in his younger days of riding, would you say it was a father or a certain track or a guy that he rode with? What probably was, from what you understand, might have helped his racing career reach a good level, and then he kept up with it year in and year out?
Well, in all honesty, before Rick came to Honda, he was up and down. He had a lot of potential. We noticed him for a long time. Even Bob Hanna brought him up as a potential rider for the team. He was his chart was up and he's down. He was really inconsistent. I think he got his real consistency, and he really matured when he came to ride for us 3 years ago.
Did you guys expect, you as in Honda, expect so many national championships and so many great races out of them, or were you?
No, we didn't expect as much as has happened with Rick. I mean, it's phenomenal what's happened. He's the new era of Bob Hanna, which is what American motocross racing always gauges everything by, is the record of Bob Hanna. So he's the new predecessor. He's good with PR, which is 99% of the riders in the business are terrible at. Bob Hanna is also very good at PR. They both understand if you don't keep the public happy, that's the reason we're here. That's a big reason. I mean, we could be losing races every week, and if we didn't do the PR with the people, our front office would discontinue the program.
We're at how many miles you put on a year, ground miles, traveling around North America?
50,000 miles a year we drive. We averaged last year 1,300 miles a week.
How many times to Europe?
Let's see, last year we went 3 times to Europe. Did an average of about 3 races every trip.
In your career, how many times around the world? How many times to Europe, Japan?
Oh, 5 or 6 times to Japan, around the world. 10.
You're going to Europe. Your racer is Rick Johnson. He's riding 250 classes in supercross races of sorts. What would you take? You wouldn't take an entire bike, will you?
No, basically what we do is we take, being that we use a production race bike, we take certain parts that we can bolt onto another production bike in another location in Europe. We take forks, we take shock, exhaust pipe, a cylinder. That's basically about it.
I was told that Rick pays his own expenses when he does special races outside a contract race, say Paris or some kind of special supercross. Is there such a thing as appearance fee or trying to entice Rick there, and does he include you in the package?
Let's wait that guy. Hold on.
Well, we can just, I don't want to rephrase it, but
When we do these races outside of Rick's contract, Rick is obligated by the company that if I'm going to go along, he has to pay my expenses and his expenses also. So basically, though, most of the European promoters pay all the expenses. It's not like the United States where they take. They don't seem to pay back to anything they seem to do.
what's the most important or prestigious race that you guys have raced in the past that you'll hopefully race in the future? Just one. Is it
Daytona. Daytona is usually the biggest race. Besides, I think then comes Anaheim. Being that Daytona gets so much international coverage from all over the world.
European races? When you go over there, are you treated like kings? Has Rick got a big following? Does he sign autographs for 2 hours after each race?
The European races are geeks. The European races are, Rick is quite well received very well there. He has a great following from the magazines from the States, and also we seem to get a lot of European and Japanese magazines coming to the States here to cover most of our national and supercross races more and more every year. And also we're getting more and more television, international television. We just did a series this fall and winter for a series in Holland and Italy and France. So we're getting more and more international flavor to our program.
What's dangerous? If you're talking to Rick and you're in Italy, or for instance, or Holland, you're racing a local race and you know 10 of the top pros and you know how they ride, but there are 30 other guys in the race. Is there some danger involved? He doesn't have a clue who's in front of him or who this guy is trying to dice with him alongside?
Most of the races we go to are large international races, which are, they bring in many top world names. Also Americans, but a lot of European, Vandenberg, Gabors, on and on and on. All your top names, they come to these races because the promoter wants to have a big crowd, so he brings in the Americans versus the Europeans.
Rick's never on a track with people of quality, or he just got to watch out for it. They might...
Well, there are some guys, some of the places you go, like Europe, in Italy and stuff, the riders are not as the same caliber as some of our riders. So you have to be a little more cautious about them when you lap them or on the starts, because they're not as smooth.
How do you handle Rick before a race? Do you try to shield him from autograph seekers, people bothering him? Does he psych himself up, or do you play any part in...
Well, to a certain degree, you let the autograph seekers come around. It's just a happy medium. You have to know when to turn them off and close the doors and keep the entourage away that build up from location to location. It's just a feeling when you know things are getting wore a little thin, and then you just have to shut it down and ask them to leave or whatever needs to be done. To get up for the race, Rick does some of it. We kind of confer back and forth. It's kind of a team mutual effort. When one's down, the other one helps the other one. Picks the high points and the low points and try and smooth out all the rough edges.
Does he count on you ever for insight of how other riders are doing?
Oh yes, we confer. I'm his eyes behind him. I can see what's going on during the race or during practice. Well, we watch during the practice. We have a bunch of people around the track that watch what's going on, and we draw diagrams, and then we come back to the pits after practice and confer what's going on. And Roger, we confer, and David and I and Rick all confer what's going on, and we compile all our information and try and use it to our best ability. And then we make adjustments to the motorcycle from there.
Last question against you.
Stand by. Greatest race.
LA Coliseum, where Rick was down on the ground and the pack was 10 to 15 seconds in front of him by the time he got up and got the motor started. And he caught him and ran him down just a few laps from the end to win the race. The helmet being missing, that's just something that goes on every week. I mean, you can have just things happen. You know, things happen every week that you can't let it panic. You just have to go with it as best you can. And sometimes it's a little tenser than others, but you try and make it work.
The thing you dislike most about your job, not necessarily negative, but the toughest part of your job.
Cleaning up Rick's mess in the back of the truck after the race.
You know, if this guy was just...
No.
Anything right? We're there. Anything right? Okay.
Okay.
Stand by. Whoops, let me get some speed here. Your incentive, besides money.
Money's not it. If I was money, I'd be quit a long time ago.
You'd be repairing Porsches.
Right, I'd be repairing David's Porsche. I work in a Ferrari garage. It was money.
Yeah.
The most enjoyable thing about it is just working with everyone that's involved in racing and traveling all over the country. And I think the big thing is after you put in a lot of hours during the week driving and trying to get the motorcycle to work right, is to see it finish, and the best thing is to win. That's the most important thing. It makes everything worthwhile what you've put the time and the effort in that week. But you can only go week by week. You're only as good as your last race. So you can't dwell on it all the way until the following Sunday. When it comes Monday morning, you start all over again. And that was last week's race. This is this week's race.
Rick Johnson is. This is your statement.
Rick Johnson is. Boy, that's a difficult one. Well, he's very hard-working. He's highly motivated, and that's the biggest thing. And he makes things a lot easier that way. He's very, how would you say?
Abnormal.
Abnormal, yes.
Hey.
You gotta set up a W camera on the other side of the hill. Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson. Rick's really sensitive to all the things that go on with a motorcycle. Makes life a lot easier in trying to test things. Some of the things that were done today would probably take us twice as long with someone else because they're not in tune to what's going on, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to do that.
Brian Lunnis is to Rick Johnson.
I don't know. His roadie. I guess this is his roadie. No, we're pretty much friends. We're real good friends, and there's a lot of things that he confides in me and I confide in him, and that makes things flow a lot easier. It's not just strictly a business thing. It makes the, when he has a problem, he can come to me with it, and vice versa. So it kind of makes it so everything flows pretty easy.
Thank you.
Don't talk, that's all you get. Thanks, thank you very much.
So we can still see riding style.
Right, okay.
But yeah, you can make him full frame, full.
That's it. Shot here.
Hey, get this thing out of my face.
I'll just try to roll as much as I can here for such a short day.
Yes, why don't you keep your foot there so when you can make a clean sweep this time on these two turns? You know what I mean?
Okay.
How's it look?
It's looking better. Every time I see the groove of the track, it's easier, you know. This is right. This take will be right on. Dave, you want a tight shot, right?
A tight shot, whenever you can, roll.
You want me to look in the camera or what you?
You can look at me, it doesn't matter with your glasses on. I don't see a little light here, bro. Is that any problem? It's the first time I've...
We're rolling, Dave.
Okay, want to make sure. When you were racing, your career, why were the Europeans so dominant over the Americans?
Because I think it was very competitive at that time in Europe. There was many countries were competing in motocross: Scandinavia, Sweden, Finland. Also the eastern countries, they had good Russian riders, Czechoslovakian riders. Czechia used to be a main manufacturer of motocross machines with CZ in the 60s and till the early 70s. And first Belgium, Germany, England. There was a lot of countries competing. I think there was more exchange at the time than there is now in Europe. The eastern countries are a little bit out of it, and maybe the Europeans they decided to stay more at home and be king in their own country, and did not keep coming and competing against the other best riders in the world. And I think then if you don't do that, you're going backwards, and that's what has happened in the past a little bit. And the Europeans, now that the Americans go over there more, I think it is helping the Europeans to grow back again and to come back. And I see a change now in Europe. They seem to be developing better younger riders again. I think Jean-Michel Bayle, for example, is going to turn out a great rider.
Is this partly because of Supercross and developing a rider that can ride a short, bumpy track, gets big air, and is fearless?
Well, Supercross originated in America, and it has definitely helped the American riders. It helps in some part of motocross being able to ride and to pass in a very restricted area. There's no better place to learn that than in Supercross. Also, there's so much jumping in Supercross that some of the things you learn there you cannot play on the outdoor track. And to be the best rider today, I think you have to ride both. You have to ride the outdoors and Supercross.
Is that okay?
You like to lean again, so you cannot leave.
You were rolling.
And action. Your very first time you read, you heard, or you saw the name Rick Johnson?
The very first time I remember him was in Texas, Lake Whitney, Texas, and he was riding a Yamaha 125 that day, and he didn't have such a good start, and I saw him, there was a section with big bumps, a fast straightaway with big bumps, and I saw him to that section, and I thought, this guy has something. Yeah.
Guts?
Yeah, big guts.
Especially on the Yamaha?
No, the way he was riding compared to the other kids that were riding against him that day, you know, you could see that.
Do you remember what year that was?
I don't remember what year. It may be 82, I'm not sure.
When you look for a rider that might possibly make a team, or you're impressed by him, what's the first thing you look at? Do you look at skill or determination, or what stood out, that the qualities that you had to win 5 world championships? You're looking at other people.
Well, there's two big things I look at. Of course, you see how they look on the track, how they ride, and you can kind of tell when a rider is on the track how much commitment there is from him, how much of himself he puts into it. And the next thing is when you speak to the guy, the eyes, the way the way he comes out speaking, the way his personality, that plays a big role in how good a guy is going to do. Whatever talent he is, I think the personality is gonna it's necessary to be, to make it an overall, to make a guy a champion.
Out of all the riders you've met in your career and that you know right now, other than even maybe yourself, who would Rick be similar? A Robert, a McCullough, a Aubert, who knows, even a Hanna, but who is similar to Rick that you might have known or raced in the past, or somebody today, but somebody that has a similar drive?
Similar, it's that. Can we keep going? Yeah, sure. Similar, it's hard to say. I don't know I've never met a guy that is... Yeah.
And don't say Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or any of the...
And action.
I don't remember meeting or working with a guy that is very similar to Ricky. He is very complete. There's many things about him that makes him, you know, who he is and makes him as good as he is. And what I like about him the most is, as good as he still is a nice guy. He still is a good guy outside of riding. Many people, when they get that good, although there's a few people that get that good, then it seems to affect their personality a lot, and Ricky has been able to keep that aside from it. You know, he has stayed the same person, and I hope he can keep doing that.
You won 5 world championships. You know what it takes to race in Europe, but you're at more home ground there. Could Ricky Johnson possibly go over there and win a couple world championships?
Definitely. Definitely, there's no question about it. If he decides he wants to do it, if he wants to do it bad enough, there's no question that he cannot do it.
I've talked to you sometimes before races, and you say, well, it's an open race. How has Rick surprised you? In what races that you've been totally surprised by what he's done? What stands out the most?
Well, he is what the big champions have. He has that part, is that when the conditions are adverse, and when another guy would put his arms down and sort of give up and give in to the circumstances, he seems to be able to turn it around and push himself over the normal limit, like no later than last week at the San Diego Supercross. I think he proved that. He had been sick the night before. He rode not so good in practice. He was not very good in his heat race. And in the main, he turned things around and managed to, you know, do himself and come through with a win again. And it was not a lucky win. He did it, you know, he won it.
San Diego. Rick is following Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward has communications with Turner. Do you think Turner was Jeff's eyes behind him? I mean, do you think that helped quite a bit? And it was a little disadvantage on Rick's part, Turner telling him exactly what is Rick's best lines on. He's coming on you right now?
I think it's an advantage. It can be an advantage to a certain point. But I think when the racing gets as tight as it was there, I think it can backfire on you. And you can get too much information and get confused, because there's, you know, Rick knew that he had communication also. And Rick has one thing, he has a lot of smart, the kind of smart you don't learn in school. I call it street smart. And he has instinct, you know, and I think he used the fact that the Ward had communication, he used that and to make Ward confused. The way he was, you know, attacking Ward at different places and trying to set him up and all that. I think the communication that in the last phase of the race was a hinder to Jeff.
If you had to pick 5 of the best motocross racers of all time, at least in your era, that you know about, other than yourself, pick 5 great guys, who would they be?
I would...
Hold it, let me rephrase that. You are picking the ultimate motocross and Trophy to Nations team. You can pick them from any era, any guy. Who would you pick, and what would they ride?
Hold on, let's pause.
I really appreciate this, everybody. I really appreciate this. Thank you for waiting. This is like now or never for the show.
Okay. And action.
I would pick Mikola, Andre Malherbe, Bob Hanna, David Bailey, and Johnson, Ricky Johnson.
One thing about Rick Johnson that is different from all the other riders he's raced against, and different than you, something that's just...
He seems to be able to still be a normal person and and do whatever he has to do. You know, he still goes and eat the scissors and all that the night before the race, and be as good as he is at the same time. And he seems to be able to stay a nicer person. I'm sometimes amazed though how patient he can be with the kids and people, and I really admire that quality in him.
What sells motorcycles?
Of course, winning sells motorcycles, but also the personality and being liked by the people. And Ricky is definitely liked by the people, whether he goes and race in San Diego in front of his own crowd, or in Japan, in Tokyo, or in Paris, or in Italy. He is always liked, and that's because he has paid he's paying his dues. He doesn't make excuses if he doesn't win, and he's the rider that can come from behind also, and the public really likes the rider that can come from behind.
The feeling you get when Rick pulls off a win, you played a part in it, you helped him with lines, you talked to him, your feeling, your gratification, is it a replacement from your racing career?
It's not as good, but it's the next best thing. When a win like last week at San Diego, for example, it feels good. It does feel good. And I don't show my feelings so easily, but I could not hide my feelings last week, and even in the stands, people were going, "Oh, you're getting into this," you know.
Rick shares his wins with the people that help him, doesn't he?
He does. He shows appreciation.
One last question. Rick's greatest move or his greatest race that you've seen? And a little about it.
I think it's last year at the Coliseum, after the crash in the start, coming from dead last. He was almost half a lap down when he got up, and he ended up winning, coming into the lead a lap and a half from the end. That was a great race. But I've seen many other good races. I saw him do a fantastic race in the Netherlands at the Supercross in Arnhem last year. It was also a crash in the start, come from behind situation, and I've seen him do quite a few good ones.
Did you have any doubts that the Motocross and Trophy of the Nations in New York when it was raining? Does Rick know how to ride in the rain, in the mud?
I had a few doubts because I don't think we had the strongest setup. We had the best riders, but I don't think they were affected to their best classes. I think Rick on the 500 and Ward on the 125 and Bob Hanna on the 250 would have been a better team, a stronger team. But we still managed to win anyhow.
The future of Rick Johnson and Honda.
I hope we can keep working together forever.
Thank you.
Okay, ready, and action.
Hold on. Okay. No,
Ready?